So this is the work of Slim Spurling. Slim Spurling was an incredible man. He was a blacksmith, he was an energy worker, and he was an academic researcher. He was a legacy leaver, and he was a humanitarian. So I am here standing for Slim and his work. He was an absolute pioneer. So there's a couple of things to actually understand about this technology. So copper is often known as being very anti-inflammatory and really, really great for arthritis, aches, pains, that sort of thing. But Slim Spurling had a different take on it. So essentially he became very famous in the States. He was a Colorado cowboy, and he became very, very famous for his geopathic stress dowsing. Now, dowsing, for anyone that doesn't know, is using divining rods, pendulums, that sort of thing, and actually tuning in to the land and the stress that may be man-made stress, and it may be natural geopathic stress. So those people that couldn't sell their houses, or there was somebody sick in the home, he would go around. He became very famous for that, and he wanted to find solutions. So essentially he found the copper tools that were very, very helpful. And so this has been around for a very long time. And in the 90s, he started working with copper and finding out a few things. The two things to really understand is that any wire will have a polarity to it. It'll have a positive end and it'll have a negative end. If you make that into a ring, you'll have a positive side of the ring and you'll have a negative side of the ring. And what they found out when they were doing some research is that if you put the negative side on a weak heart, you can stop the heart. That's what happened to one of Slim Spurling's friends when they were doing some research. So Slim said, we can't have this, we can't do any harm with this. So this is why you'll see all Tensor rings have the wire backed around on themselves in a clockwise direction, in a 45-degree angle. It makes them perpetually positive on both sides, and it does no harm. It's essentially the start of perpetual free energy. Now, the ring that I used on both of you to show you and demonstrate was this ring here called the Royal Sacred Cubit Measure. Now, you can't get any old length of twisted wire and make that into a ring and have the phenomena that you experienced happen. This here is a very special sacred geometry measurement. It's found in the King's Chamber in the Giza Pyramid in Egypt. So it's called the Royal Sacred Cubit Measure. When they measured inside the ring, they found it harnessed 144 million hertz of light frequency. Now, there is a significance to that number. That number is the same harmonic as the speed of light. So when you're working with the harmonic of the speed of light, you're working with a light anti-gravity effect. You feel lighter but stronger. You feel a little more stuck to the ground. You feel like stable, yes? Is that what you experienced? Okay. Now, copper has its own qualities. It is a superconductor for electricity. Now, we have an electric body to us as well, right? So it actually helps to ground us when we're building up static from positive ions, from our technology and all of that sort of stuff. That needs to be ground. Otherwise, we feel very drained. We feel very brain foggy, we feel lethargic, aches and pains, that sort of stuff. So a lot of people don't contribute their physical symptoms to things of the unseen world, like EMF, 5G, all of that sort of stuff. Dirty electricity leaking out of wires and that sort of thing. So what happened is when they put this out into the field and they measured the Royal Sacred, giving it to lots and lots of people, lots of healers, lots of clairvoyants, lots of Reiki teachers, they found that it had a huge affinity for ramping up the self-healing capability of the physical body, the structural integrity of the body, and the mechanical function. So very good for joints, bones, ligaments, tendons, any disease already manifest in physical form, and any pain and discomfort. The next one to come along was the Lost Becker. So Slim was here for 3 of them. Lost Becker was very much mental and emotional. The light body activation, if you don't know, you are a light being, a photonic light being. And it was very good for your DNA code reading. So your DNA is a fractal antenna and it reads code. So when you eat food, it doesn't just make your tummy happy and your taste buds, you're actually giving your body information. That information is external information that's got to be integrated into our internal self. And that is that's what the DNA is responsible for, reading the code and figuring out where to put everything and how to make it into us. Yeah. So the empowerment ring was next. That's very much the spiritual development, developing your intuition, your telepathy, that sort of thing. And then the arc is the heart, blood pressure, blood circulation, blood purification, all matters of the heart. So those 4 rings look like this in their original size, and they're very, very complementary for each other because they work on every layer.